It's hump day, everybody, and yeah, it is Wednesday, and we are live. This is the HammerFist podcast. I can't even talk. Brought to you by MMA Fight Pass with the support from the people here at Spike and Rail Live in Selma, California. Also, we are live once again with Glepler Digital Media for all your media needs, as well as Visalia MMA gear, the people out there that take care of us. You know what, Eddie, I talked to him earlier, and he told me that you guys go in there and mention that you heard it from MMA Fight Pass, and he can go ahead and take care of you. He's, working on a couple of things right now for Christmas. But he said anything that you see in here that he would basically give you a killer deal on regardless and stuff like that. So let everybody know. Heck of a show lined up. We got the main man, and I know you've heard the name, Alonso, but not that name, but about millions. So we're going to talk to him in a little bit, but before we do that, we're going to do a little recap of this past weekend, man.
It was a big weekend, man.
Hell of a weekend, and awesome to be just a part of it. First we had Fight to Win out there in Fresno over there at the fairgrounds, and then Save Mart Center, Combates America.
Josh Cisneros at Fight to Win, his clip is going viral on him putting that kid to sleep. I mean, it just was insane. It was a huge amount of fights, 36 matches total, I think it was. It just was insane, the amount of fighting caliber fighting they had going on, and then on top of it, the amount of people showed up. I mean, it was a split night in Fresno.
That's what I was saying. The support, both shows were a success. I mean, we've had other promotions, throughout the year. We've been blessed: UFC, LFA, Bellator, Top Rank Boxing. Just a lot. And they've had good turnouts, but both these events at the same night, oh my God, man.
And it was a who's who everywhere you went. I mean, we down at Combates, the fights, I don't think there was one bad fight the whole night.
No, and you know what? Like I said, we've seen a lot of promotions this year, and all, great promotions. The only one that I think of the promotions, and it's local, Tachi, that can compete with the matchmaking. But that night, Combates America, man, they put it on the line. Those mariachis just put it over.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Insane.
They just put you in the mood, man. You go out there, and then as far as production, I got to give them like a A+++ as far as production, man. No holds barred. And then that first tournament of its kind here in California, $100,000 in one night.
And it was well put together.
Yeah,
the fights flowed. Nothing looked hampered. They didn't have to use alternates. The rules that they set in place supported that structure, and it was awesome to be a part of.
It was, and then even Saturday night, the UFC.
Well, my Hawaiian won. That's all that really matters.
Wow, I was told I called that wrong, man. I'm a big fan, and
I did too, though. I'm a huge Holloway fan, and I thought Ortega was going to eat him alive.
He is a fan of our show. His actual manager, Ed Soar, was the main guy at LFA. I didn't even know at the time when we did our podcast live there from the weigh-ins. Ed Soares took a picture of me with that shirt on, sent it to Brian, came back, and now we kind of follow each other. But yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Did you watch the fights?
I did. I catch a little bit of the
highlights on there.
Of the highlights, and honestly, I wasn't expecting Brian to stand up with him. I thought he was just going to take him to the ground, and
I think the whole world thought the same.
Yeah, he couldn't.
I was quite surprised to see that he tried to stand up with Holloway. So I don't know. He took a gamble, and I guess it didn't pay off for him.
Yeah, but it was still. It was action packed the entire time, and it was just. It was like Christmas early, like I said last week. So much things going on for fighting across the board. And we have this week coming up with Bellator, and who we're going to get to talk to Javi Ayala in a little bit. He should be calling in. But we have the 2 nights of fighting in Honolulu, which is the first time.
That's right, back to back, huh?
It's going to be a Friday and a Saturday night. And then, it's insane the amount of fights that's happening right before Christmas.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, had the the opportunity, and I've been to Rumble on the Rock,
Right.
there on the islands and stuff, and then some things that BJ's done over there. Why in the hell is taking the UFC so long to have a show there?
In my opinion, I think it's that they were socked into only doing it in Honolulu. And if they're the only place that can have the demographic to have the amount of people to sell at arena, and then to have whatever arena they have, they kind of dictated the price. And Bellator has been stepping up on everything on money. I think they're the first ones that go, you know what? We don't have to have a cap on this. We can have 2 nights of fighting, and we'll make our money on it because
That sound right.
The people there are fight born. They're just like a bunch of people. Like if you go to Mexico City and you have a boxing match, sold out.
Yeah.
If you go to Hawaii and there's an MMA or any kind of jiu-jitsu, sold out. And so, I mean, it's just insane that it took this long, but Bellator is the one that's been taking a chance on everybody. And so they took a chance on Eliama, and she said, you bring it to Hawaii, we'll sell it out. And everybody's carried through on that. And so that's what's taking the time, I think, is this, you only had Honolulu, and there's only one place you can have it. I mean, it's always been pigeonholed there. And I think UFC wants to have the ability of people to drive to their events. If they go to another country, it's usually centrally located.
Yeah.
And Bellator's taking a chance coming out to us and, going out to places. And they're not a huge turnout for them, but they also have Paramount, supporting them on televising to millions of people for free. So I think they took the gamble, and I think they're going to succeed on it for 2 nights of fighting. I mean,
Yeah, and this is a good time to go to the islands. I used to go during February, but right now they got the pipeline going on right now. The
North Shore's banging
North Shore,
across the
yeah.
board. I mean, it's been beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been watching Crew and Hobby's feed and Joe. I mean, it's not a cloud in sight. It's been sunny. It's been typical Hawaii.
That's nice.
Low 80s to high 70s. I mean, it's just they went over there and went to, springtime here.
Yeah.
So I'm a little jealous.
Oh,
to say
I
the
was going to
least.
say, yeah, those photos look awesome right now and stuff like that too. But now to our guest, man, Alonso, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Awesome,
Thank you guys for having me.
blessed, very blessed. Tell us a little bit about your brand. I know, it's been going for a while, but basically, what got you mentally into wanting to even do something like that, man?
A lot of people think that when you look at about millions, the first thing that comes to your head is what? Money.
Money. Yeah.
But of course, I think it actually just depends on what your take is on it. But my brand is definitely not about money. It's about the reason why every person, and I don't mean just fighters, because in a way everybody's a fighter. There's people fighting depression. There's people fighting, struggles. There's everything. So everybody is about millions. Like whether you're fighting a million circumstances that you need to get over, or a million obstacles that you need to get over to succeed, or maybe you do want to make $1 million. It depends on what's within you. So everybody fights for millions, just different millions.
Yeah, my son said something about your brand. He goes, "So what's about millions?" And I go, "It's about family and integrity." And he goes, "So it's like 1 million smiles." And it's coming from a 6-year-old, and I'm like, dead on.
I like that.
I said, because it's not about money. It's not about whatever going. It's about holding yourself to a higher level at the million mark. So it's about smiles. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's the perfect way to put it, and he goes, why do you like the brand so much? And I said, because he's a veteran owned. He's protected our country. He's paid the prices and across the board, and then he's come up with something that gives back even more. And I said this takes a special type of person. And so he I always bring him up to you. And I remember I told you, I said, oh, he wants on his Muay Thai shorts, he wants this, and we're still going to get together and do that. But it's just the branding itself is, people automatically key it to that, but it's so much bigger, and the impact you have is so deep because the roster you have is an amazing roster. And so I mean, and I'm on the lower end, but I'm so proud to be a part of it, just because I'm excited for it.
Nobody's on the lower end, man. Everybody that I bring over has a very.
I appreciate that, though.
It's somebody that I want on my team, and quite frankly, you're family, man, and I'm honored to have you there. And I think everybody has done a great job representing us in and out of the cage. So I couldn't be more proud of the team that I have.
And so, just to talk about the roster, you got Donovan Lewis.
Donovan Lewis.
He's fighting for the UCA to unite the belts with the WBC amateur title.
Yeah, he's the heavyweight champion in WBC.
And so,
amateur.
and he's fast tracking. I mean, you've got Evan Solorio, who just fought at Palacios, and he, due to an injury, he couldn't fight in Combates. And then you got Javi, who's fighting an icon. And I mean, that's just this kind of hitting the iceberg of what you're doing. I mean, how did this all start for you? I mean, I know you're part of the game and you're in deeper than people actually understand. I just don't know how it started.
You know, it started when I started working with Coach B at a Thrive Training Center. I used to go train at his professional boxing class. And I started working with some of the boxers and see how sometimes they need a little extra help paying for medicals,
right,
shoes, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Maybe there is a way that I can actually help these guys. You know, I got to figure something out. So, you know, with the support of my girlfriend, of course, she helped me. You know, we started a T-shirt. It started with a T-shirt company. That's how it started, right, which is hilarious. And yeah, little by little, we started helping little amateur kids. We threw a boxing event September 2nd, I believe last year, in the west side of Fresno, at a community center, and from there it just,
I mean, that's the place an outreach should happen.
It got out of control. It just, looking back and where we're at now, it's kind of like, wow.
I mean, we
came a long way.
It's amazing because I mean, you were involved with Top Rank,
yes,
with that promotion. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I mean, and
real quick in a short period of time, which is pretty awesome.
And I'm just impressed. And so, I mean, just with that being said, I mean, a lot of people say, hey, you know, he's a sponsorship, he does this. No, you actually get in there. You touched on with Coach B, but I mean, for my last fight, you got in there and you sparred with me, and you do have a good right hand. I mean, and it's amazing because there's not a lot of people that are willing to want to dabble in helping out. Don't want to help. I mean, and helping out, I'm saying, if you're helping out sponsorship, if you're helping out just showing up to class, support, high five, you know, tell them to keep going when it's going down. But you gloved up, you went and you trained. I mean, it's impressive across the board that I don't know how deep your repertoire goes. You know what I mean? How deep is the bag? And so, because I mean, I comment on the thing on Facebook thing about your guns and at your funeral. I mean, it just like it's a wide berth because I mean, you are a veteran, so that's taken care of. You do have sponsorship on this. You do have family that supports you, and Judy stepped in with a bunch of things and across the board. And I thought I get to the point where I think I know a lot about you, and then there's just another level. And where does that come from? I mean,
you know, my grandfather, man, he was my father, you know, and one of the things that I shared with him, it was boxing, and but my grandfather would never talk about recent fights. He will take me back to Salvador Sanchez. He will take me back to like what he considered to be the great era of boxing,
right?
And Sugar Ray, all of them, and when he passed, I felt like I lost a big part of me. And one of my ways to keep his memory alive was with this, and that's why I do it. That's why I do what I do.
That's awesome.
For him.
Right on. The next generation, man, and you'll get those highlights. I mean, Javi, you already have a highlights goes on forever, right there.
Oh yeah.
And who knows, Saturday night, I think there's going to be another one.
I'm sitting in front of my TV waiting for him to knock out Frank Mir. I mean, no disrespect to Frank. He was a great champion, and I think he's a great grappler. He's like a crocodile. When he grabs a hold of something, you either tap or he's gonna rip it. But I think Javi's right hand is too much for anybody to handle.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah,
it
hurts. You know,
it is, man. And it's kind of weird, man, like deja vu, because I know in the early days at the WEC, when I was covering at Tachi, like 2001, and you know, as time went on and we rolled up to 2004. I was doing a thing, and I started a company actually in 2001. But things started, and I was doing more of the boxing. I was an advisor for one of the baddest lightweights there was around here, and when Tachi was really rolling in the boxing deal. And then local guy, and I've been a boxing coach, you know, for over 20-some years. And the local guys I knew were getting involved in mixed martial arts, just like in the infancy stage.
Yep.
You know, everyone's a badass, so they think they can fight. So, anyways, we say, hey, why don't you come down to the gym, man? I used to go in there and do that thing. I said, shit, I wasn't that like old like I am now, but back then. And they're like, oh, shit. I go, that's the difference. I go, MMA. I mean, you guys, you know, everybody could throw a haymaker.
Yeah. But
when you go in tight and control that center line, it's a lot different. And that's where I got involved to do it. But I had a company called Fighting Unlimited News. Still today, still got it. And during that time, as things evolved, we were already on the boxing scene and everything. And, you know, I was doing stuff with Zab Judah, Oscar De La Hoya, all that part, and still involved in that network with Golden Boy. But Doug Marshall was starting his deal. Steve Ramirez was starting his deal. This guy was starting his deal. But there was a guy at Tachi that got called up to the UFC, and I sponsored him. His name was Mike Kyle.
Yep.
Okay, so his advisor said, send over your logo. So here we are, man. And I didn't tell nobody other than locals that I was real tight with in that circle knew what was going to go on. The first fight of the main card on pay-per-view, here comes my guy with a hat that said F you on it. I go, what the hell? Because it's Fighting Unlimited News. But they said the logo was so damn big, all we could do is put F you. Dude, you know how much money I made selling hats? Oh, everybody and their brother was calling me. I need a hat. But that reminds me of what you're doing right now. It brings me back to that feeling where you see somebody, and he won that first fight by knockout. And that's a highlight reel.
Nice.
Second fight he went on there, he got knocked out, but it was still a highlight reel. So that brand, it worked. But no, here we are 17 years later still doing that deal. But that's awesome, dude. I mean, you just stay focused and basically continue to pay it forward. And you know, you'll be blessed, man, more than what you expect. And like they said, each one teach one, each one helps us all, you know.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. And that's why I was really excited to hear about it, because I'd go, I must have just missed you a bunch of time, because I used to go during the week, usually 2 or 3 times to OKG. And I was always there, either doing interviews or just talking guys or just whatever they want to find out. Hey, what's going on? So and so.
For the Monday workouts.
I need to get a fight. What's going on? You know. Yeah. So we would kind of, you know, do stuff like that. But then, you know, I started getting busier and stuff at my shop and pulled it aside. But no, man, you're doing some good things, and that's kind of what draw me to meet you, is saying, hey, you know what, man, I'm gonna give this guy a blessing. He's doing positive things, and I hear real good things about you, man, of kids, young guys that I seen when they first started. Now they're in the veteran stage of their career, whether it's MMA or boxing, and you know, and I know the costs that they incur during training and all that definitely offset by the time they do get paid.
They owe money.
They make more, yeah, really, they make more money flipping a burger somewhere. But they're doing something that they love, you know.
You can't put a price tag on that.
Yeah, that's it. That's priceless. So, but no, the help, that's awesome, man. I can't say how much I respect that. That's a good thing.
So, what do you have planned for the 2019? I mean, 18's coming to head. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
He knows stuff that's going on, because I'm hearing shit I could say, but I know he's right in that network, so he can probably tell you.
Yeah, there's a couple things coming up, you know, that you guys will find out here in the near future, of course. But no, man, 2019 is definitely going to be huge. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I want to put up an sign on this one and be like, let's get started already.
I mean, I mean, I was wearing your jacket, and JC's like, hey, where's Alonso? And so JC Ramirez, the champ, he's like, where's Alonso? I'm like, he's around here somewhere. And I said, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I came down for the weekend. I'm in a training camp. And so that has got to be something that's huge on the radar right now for you.
Man, Jose Ramirez is actually, his future's looking very bright. That is one of the most hardworking young men I ever met. And the funny part is that, like, you know, he's the world champion.
Yep.
You know, he's known wherever he goes. but he still doesn't lose his humbleness. You know, like
he's so personable. I mean,
That's
you
what
walk up
makes
to him.
That's what makes him stand out.
It's amazing.
Everybody else that we've had here in the Valley, they've had opportunities, but this kid, I remember the early days when he used to go to Tulare Boxing Club, and actually Hector Alatorre used to be his advisor, and he was just a kid, and they would bring him in there and work and train when he was an amateur and stuff like that too. But you could always see he was special, you know, and to see where he is right now and to keep that level, basically, that's priceless, man. This guy's going to go far. We've had a lot of guys that have got to a level, but not that far here, you know, because for whatever reason, greed or whatever, they get into that mix, and then, like they say in the Bible, lead us not in temptation, deliver, and they go into the temptation and don't come back.
Yeah, of course, but I think what helps him honestly is that, like, the fact that, like, this guy could be having a $1 million home somewhere in an ice skating community, yet he still lives with his parents, you know, and near to his family, and I think that's what keeps him level, because he doesn't, you know, he just doesn't forget where he comes from, and he does a lot of work with the community, you know, that he just doesn't speak on it, but you know, I actually got to experience this past Thanksgiving with him and Supervisor Richard.
For giving up turkeys, man. The families, that was awesome. Yeah. Good
with
thing.
Richard Valle, and I mean, his manager, Rick Meridian. I mean, that guy. I've never seen somebody so motivated.
Does he sleep?
I don't think so. That guy
I don't think he sleeps either.
He works harder than an ugly stripper, man. I'm serious. Like, I never see somebody work that hard. Like, he's just like, he doesn't stop. Like, he closes one deal and he's already started working on another one. Sometimes he works at 2, 3 at the same time. I'm just like, dude, like, just relax, go home. And he's just like, I can't, dude. No,
I think that is relaxation for him, is working something. Because, I mean, he just strikes me as a guy that he has to see production out of form. You know what I mean? So he's putting this in place. And
it's ridiculous, man. Like, he's good.
Yeah,
so how did you and JC get together, though?
After my event, the amateur event that I did September 2nd, we just me and Rick kind of had a couple meetings, and we had a couple of disagreements on some things. But the one thing that we appreciate from each other is the honesty that we have. Yeah. Because we can honestly, like, tell each other, like, hey, dude, you're being an a-hole, you know, calm down. Like, we put things into perspective. We don't sugarcoat anything. And just, I started working with Rick and eventually with JC, and, you know, that's how it started. But yeah.
And it's like the fact that everything's kind of local brewing. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean,
that's awesome.
And with his work ethic and his humbleness, I mean, and that, I think that speaks from where he came from. I mean, Avenal's got 2,000 people in it, you know? There's not much there, but it is a wild town if it's not, you know. It is. But him.
Oh, they got a prison.
Yeah, I mean, 2. I mean, within 10 miles. Yeah. But he's come out of. Everybody says he comes out of nowhere, but I mean, you look at his amateur career. He's been known in the area for a long time. It's just, the sad thing is, we needed somebody like Rick to come in here and put a megaphone to it, you know, to explain that. No, absolutely. Because the local fighters. And I've said this for a long time. Local fighters, there's a ton of talent here. It's just hard to get them out of the valley. It's like a bowl that holds them in. You know, and you got to get in the right management in the right area and the right support. I mean, like About Millions does, to get them in that situation.
And you know, I'm glad you said that, because I actually have experienced kids who are very, very talented, and because of the greed of the parents, it just kind of like they end up cutting the wings of the kids and preventing them from flying. And it's like, you just ruined something great because you out of greed. That's what it was. That's the only thing.
Tarnished the whole situation.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's just kind of like this. You know, this kid could have been great in so many levels, and it's just like, because of a decision that you made, thinking that you were doing the best for him, and in reality trying to do the best for you.
Right.
Exactly. You just.
You know, and the sad thing is, I watched a show on Netflix. I think it was called Trophy Dads or something like that, where it's parents trying to relive their glory days through their child who was better than they'll ever be. And that's, I mean, they push them to the point where they're burnt out on the sport, or nobody wants to talk to them because this parent is just untalkable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
And it's across the board with, like I said, the talent pool around here. Family's so close to everybody's and tight, and a lot of people have their best interest in it. But I mean, you're involved in the game. You see outside of what their personal goals are. With expanding your network, I think you're able to help people springboard out instead of get smothered and snuffed. And I mean, with your past history and wanting sport, and I mean, looking back to your grandpa, you wouldn't want to extinguish anybody,
Oh, of course.
And so it's sad when you start looking. I mean, because you start looking at like you look at Hobby early in his career, he just did anything he could. If he would have had a management team, like say, hey, let's not take this fight, let's go this alley. How much higher and farther would he be by now? I think he's in the right place where he's supposed to be, through God's will. But I think there could have been a different track where he would have had a little bit of a record,
Right. The road wouldn't have been as bumpy as.
Exactly. I mean, because a fighter's career is very short-lived. And speaking of Hobby, got that pretty guy right there, We're gonna take this call. Hobby Ayala, he's fighting right now. Let me get after this. Hobby, you there, bud? Hold on, I'm about to put you on speaker, okay? All right, you're live with Chris Ronquillo and some guy named Alonso Morelos. I'm not sure if you met him before or not.
Oh, I met him. I know him very well.
You accentuated very well on this.
Yeah, please don't do that again.
Yes, very.
We're trying to keep it a family program, so watch out.
Oh, okay.
So how are you doing, man? How are you feeling for the fight?
I feel good. I'm excited. Ready to rock and roll.
Are you eating right now?
I'm actually chewing gum.
Oh no, okay. I was gonna make fun of you, but
So he's cutting weight then.
Are you cutting? How is your weight? Honestly.
Actually, as of this morning, I haven't really sat down and cut weight, but as of this morning, I had 4.3 pounds to lose.
No, that's nothing.
So it's probably already off of me already from throughout the day.
So I mean, are you looking towards a fight, or are you experiencing this Hawaii life? Because I mean, the Hawaii life's pretty intoxicating, man.
I'm looking forward to the fight, but the Hawaiian life's cool. It really got me saying, brother.
And everybody's your cousin too.
Yeah, everybody's my cousin. I've been doing what's it called? The shaka?
The shaka, yep. I mean, that's essential to be there. If you don't do it, they kick you out pretty much.
Hang loose, Brian.
So
they say I fit in because I'm big over here.
Yeah, you're skinny by Hawaiian standards. I mean,
I'm anorexic by Hawaiian standard.
Yeah, you're under 3, so you're no good right now. Hey, so how did your meetup blitz go? I saw that you were talking with some big names, McCarthy, Mike Goldberg. I mean, you guys had a roundtable. How'd that go for you today?
It was good. The meeting was good. They're asking me how I felt like the fight was going to play out, and what did we do to get ready for this fight, different things like that.
So have you seen Frank Mir yet?
Yeah, I actually seen him, shook his hand. He's a real cool guy.
Did he look skinny to you? Because he looks skinny to me.
Yeah, he's trained.
Yeah, he looks slim. He's taller than me, but I'm a lot wider than he is.
That's because you got a good base, I guess. I don't know. Is that all that butt you got or something?
Yeah, I think I got a bigger booty than he does, for sure.
That is for sure.
Nobody's disagreeing on this side.
Because I do a lot of squats, that's why.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, there's too many appropriate jokes. Okay, so you got anything? You got any questions?
Hey, Ivy, this is Chris. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Chris, and yourself?
Good. Very, very thankful, man. Hey, I'm looking forward to this scrap. You work a lot of your ankle defense this year, this last couple camps.
Excuse me?
You work on your ankle defense, ankle lock defense.
Oh yeah, I've been working a lot of that. As you guys know, right there at CVCA, that's a lot that a lot of the moves that we go for is attacking the legs, jiu-jitsu wise. So I have a lot of good guys trying to attack my legs and me defending them. So I feel confident with my leg lock defense.
They say the odds are 100-1 that you'll go for an ankle lock.
The odds are 100-1 that he'll go for an ankle lock.
You.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna try to get me down, and
Do a Lesnar
not
on
really,
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, not really try to stand up with me.
Yeah, I mean he looks in shape, but I mean his chin, is he don't have one.
He's suspect on that area.
After Fedor, I think it's broke for life. But just go out there, have fun, man. I want to see a highlight that's going to be on there forever.
That's the plan.
And when you come back, pyology on me, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to that. Promise.
You got it, brother. You got it.
Hey, Javi.
Hey, we got Alonso here too, bud.
What's up, brother?
Hey, brother, man. Sorry I couldn't make it, bro, but I love you, man, and I know you're going to knock this dude out. Try to beat the 16-second record, and we'll see you when you get back, bro.
All right, thank you, bro. I'll see you for sure. Definitely when we get back, we can go have a lunch or dinner again.
You got it, my
like
brother.
last time.
I know you got a bunch of stuff going on right now. Is there any sponsors you want to thank and hit up right now and publicize what's going on, who's supporting you?
You know what? I want to give a big shout out to Alonso. He's been sponsoring me for a long time, but with about millions and also blood in the cut. He's been taking care of me. Also, my uncle Mike Allen from Homes for Rent. He's actually been sponsoring me since my first professional MMA fight. I really appreciate him. My massage therapist that she takes care of me. She helps me put everything back together that I mess up during training. I like to throw a big old shout out to my wife, my kids. I know it's hard on them, especially having to leave. Like this time I've been gone for 6 days, so I know it's affecting them. So I really appreciate that they put up for this while I follow my dreams.
That's awesome, man. And so, I mean, I can speak for all of us here that we wish you luck, and you'll be in our thoughts and our prayers for all the best. But do me a favor and give me an early Christmas present. Just knock him out early.
All right, brother, I will.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon, and God bless. And we'll be watching you on Friday night.
All right, thank you guys. I'll see you guys soon.
All right, buddy. Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Javi Ayala, co-main event Friday night on Paramount, and I think, are they going to stream it or it's simulcast on the Zone too? I think.
Yeah, I think the Zone has it on there too. The Zone's doing big things. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Who's running this company? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, man. I mean, you could pull up the app, basically for free for the first month, and after that it's $9
a month.
Yeah, $9 a month. Or you can have me jailbreak your phone, and I could do it for free.
You're supposed to publicize it.
We get every single one.
But they're doing the Canelo fight too.
Yeah, well, Canelo, they signed this big agreement with him, and actually he fights this weekend as well against Rocky. So
How do you feel about that fight?
I think it's gonna be better than what people think. I think Rocky's gonna be coming in and opportunity to try to take advantage of a big opportunity, and I think it's possible. Canelo, I mean, he's going to do his thing, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't put money on it.
No, of course not. You know what? And just for the record, I am Mexican, actually born there. But the thing is, Canelo has done a lot of things with Oscar De La Hoya. Like I just think it's bad for the boxing sport, and like the whole PED use and everything,
Right.
Yeah.
whatever the reason was, that's fine. But realistically speaking, I like the second fight more for a draw than the first one.
Right.
The first one I was just blown out of my mind.
Yeah, it should have been Triple G should have got that first
Of course,
fight.
yeah. Like,
But you're not going to beat the house. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
of course not. Yeah.
So, and everybody knows that. The second one, I think, they're pushing for a trilogy, but I don't know. I give him that second fight. I mean, he came on point in the best condition that he possibly ever has been.
Well, there's rumors that De La Hoya has already put in a bid for the T-Mobile Arena for Cinco de Mayo
Cinco de
weekend.
Mayo. So that's
be
probably
huge.
what. Yeah,
That would
that's
be
probably
huge.
that's the word going around right now. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll
You
see
know.
what happens.
So what do you guys think on the? I mean, we're all fans of the hobby, but from an analyst's point of view, what do you think? I mean, I know Hobby's game plan is got to be small and brawl, and stay up top and be strong. Do you think Mir has the the boxing IQ to kind of stand with Javi? Because Javi's center line's been getting better. He's been working with boxing. He's been tighter, higher.
Mitch got some on point. I've seen a little bit of him working, now that he acts as a boxing coach. And with Crew gives good conditioning, but everybody has a tendency to steal those bad habits. And Javi, through the years, have always, like they say, you have a spear. God gives you a spear and a hammer, but you always forget to use your shield, and that's one thing that Javi's had that crutch on, dropping that left hand. I mean, he did it from the first fight when he fought Brandon Cash, and up and comers.
Yeah,
that was it, and that's something. His agility has improved huge, and his strength and everything else. It's just that one deal. But now with Mitch, I told him, man, even if you got to tie that thing, and that's what he's worked on, that pocket striking, controlling in there, and more head movement.
I've got to see Javi working pads and doing movement at later times. His hands are higher.
Yeah, and that's
it's and I mean the Czech Congo fight. I mean he threw that looping right.
I don't think he was ready for that fight.
But he did exactly what Czech Congo was setting up for. He's going to drop the left and go, and then he came with a tight right. I mean, he just got lucky on that punch. He was well placed. Yeah. But this fight coming up, I think the camp's been better for Javi.
Yeah. This Javi would have beat Czech Congo.
But I've been following Frank Mir on social media, and he's been all over the world, and that can't be good for a camp.
No, I mean everything from broadcasting to look how he looked all amped up by that Tito and Chuck. He was wired or something.
He didn't blink
my wife
time.
even made a comment. God, is that guy all on something?
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen a bunch of fighters, Alonso, coming through, and with camps coming up, if they're not centered and at home, I don't think they're going to be as mentally sharp.
And I think we've seen this before. Like, if you remember the fight between Fabricio Verdum and Cain Velasquez, Cain Velasquez was all over the place as well and everything. Doing we seen it with Conor McGregor. McGregor was doing promos and promoting his whiskey and everything. And I think when you have somebody that has that hunger and the fire, because they want what you got, they want the name. They who doesn't want to beat a legend? Of course, it becomes a dangerous thing because you're indirectly overlooking them. And that is a horrible thing to do because I always said that there's people that just have that. What I'm trying to say is, you can drop them in the jungle, butt naked, and they'll come out with a chinchilla coat and a leopard hat, and and 10 pounds heavier from eating them. It's like I think Frank Mir is definitely he needed to take every opportunity he had to train. And his stand-up is not bad. I mean, he's actually pretty respectful stand-up fighter.
He's a decent kickboxer.
But like the chin, I think Fedor just took that from him.
And for him to get in and take Javi down, he's a little bit taller than Javi. He's going to have to get low. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to open up, shoulder area just to get to that point, to get in. Unless he ties him up, he can control him in a clinch. And I don't know if you ever clinched with Javi. Javi's not a small dude, and he's not weak by any means.
No.
And so I just don't think everything's lining up to where Javi should be able to take advantage of the fight, in my opinion. I mean, he's focused. He's been at home. The only thing he's had to deal with is family and training, and his family supports him. And Frank Mir's been in London doing a seminar. Then he was down at the Chuck Tito fight. Then he was bouncing all over it. And then he was in Maui for 3 days before the fight. I just don't see. He's there, and I think he's fighting, and he's got the name already. But like you said, I think he is looking past this. He's already looking to the next opponent or next move that he's making, and does he not care? We can play devil's advocate all day, but it just kind of seems like his career's set, and he doesn't really care about the outcome.
I wouldn't necessarily say he doesn't care. I just think he kind of he's probably, like I said, overlooking the whole picture. He's like, Javi's coming out of a loss, and all this stuff. So he's probably not paying as much attention as he should. But when you look at Javi and train, he looks in a great shape. Mm-hmm. Like he said, he looks better than when at his last camp. And I agree. I don't think he was ready for that fight. But the good thing about Javi is that, like, you know, he's a hard worker. He's a very hard worker.
He definitely is. And I think what Mir's ace in the hole is he's a grappler, man. The guy knows that like he's putting on his pants.
Yeah.
And like they say, everything's based on reaction. And that's where he's going to go to. Wrestlers always revert back to wrestling. He's going to revert back to what he knows his safe spot, and that's grappling. And he can control that weight, that balance to use it for his advantage too. So I know Javi and I know Joe's probably drilled that in his brain as well too, you know, that you can't be the pendulum, man. You go in there, do your thing, and kind of like
start standing up, though.
yeah, and they all do. Yes, sir. They all do start standing up, and I think he just got to go in there and put pressure on him, just like a wrestler.
Yeah.
You know, pressure. Don't give him any distance.
I mean, I know what they did in Javi's fight camp, and I saw what they did to set for this.
Yeah.
And if Javi's stand up is crisp, I think his ground will take care of itself.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go out of the first. I think it won't even get out of the first round. Javi knock him out. If not with a hand, with a brutal elbow.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we're talking to the crew about his.
Javi's elbows suck.
Yeah, that's
I mean, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean,
I'm gonna
he's
call it
horrible
that. That's
elbows.
what I'm calling by an elbow.
You know,
I think he's gonna get. Brutal.
and we're talking about Crew and Crew's what he does for help
Yeah.
with conditioning and everything, but that elbow that Javi throws, it's pretty insane and it's sharp,
Pretty
and,
tight.
and it comes off like a hook, and it's, I mean, I've been hit by it, and I was expecting a fist, and then I got a thud, you know, because you block for the fist, and all of a sudden you got someone talking, you're like, it didn't feel right, you know, but I don't think Bellator is ready for what Javi's going to do on this either, because they're going to put him as co-main event, and they keep putting him as the co-main event. I think he won the Roy Nelson fight. I don't think he's ready for Chet Congo, but I know he's ready for Frank Mir.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nelson.
That Roy really didn't want to fight him. He just wanted to control him, and that's basically what.
Yeah, he was just career off on that.
Yeah,
And if you remember, the only time Roy Nelson did that before was against Kimball Slice in the house.
Yeah,
When he was afraid to stand up with anybody.
That's basically what he used that blueprint.
Yeah.
Same thing, all over again. Because look at when he went toe to toe with the Russian, the same guy Javi knocked out, he got starts as well.
Yeah.
So, but just got to see. But I think it's going to be good for the Valley Boy. He's going to come out, prevail, and stuff like that. I mean, from the get-go, they brought Javi in as an opponent anyways when he first got in the promotion, and he rewritten everything else. So, and I think it's going to continue through 2019 and beyond. He's going to get his just due, and truly blessed, man. I think 2019 is the year of Javi Ayala, man. Definitely, I think so, because a lot of these legends are on the downside, and what's there as far as like the young blood and the age group of Javi, I think they're pretty all matched, but I have Javi ahead of everybody as far as conditioning. You know, if he comes in with a good camp, good condition, as far as with his natural ability and his agility, shoot, he can stay there for a long time, man. I feel it. I could see it.
So with everything coming to a close, and you said you got big things prepping, is there anything going to be happening at Bulldog Stadium? I mean, I keep hearing that thrown out like from different areas. I mean, you know, I'm going to ask that. You can go take the fifth if you want, but I mean,
No, you know, it's a high possibility, of course, especially when you have Rick Meridian working the deal. I actually had the privilege to work next to him and learn a lot from him. If he's talking and you're not listening, you're actually doing a damage to you. So no, but it's a high possibility, Bulldog Stadium, and it's something that it means a lot to Jose because he's a former Fresno State student.
Yep.
His brother graduated from there. So yeah, it's definitely something that's it's been talked about. So hopefully, within the next next year it could be brought
That
to
would be
Fresno.
phenomenal. I mean, it's a big venue. But it's the heart of the valley. I mean, that's where everybody looks to. I mean, our football team's doing great this year.
Yeah,
we're ranked
Next week, huh?
Yeah,
or
playing,
actually, what,
we're
the
playing
15th?
the 15th. We're on Saturday.
Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, it's
hey, my old alma mater, Arizona State, man.
They're going down.
Sun Devils, man.
With the heart of the valley and Ramirez becoming kind of the face of the valley now too, with what he's been doing for the strength of the community. And I mean, he's not even trying to market himself; he's being himself, and he's doing things this way. And with Rick promoting it, I'm looking for, like, I almost in the back of my head, I'm almost counting on it, you know. But I mean, there's so many moving parts in boxing, but that's just something that needs to happen for the valley. I think it opened up us to a bigger spectrum. I mean, having people come down. Combatis came down there, had a great turnout. You know, same night we split that. They've had Bellator come down. You know, and then you bring it to the level where it's a stadium. That's a big venue. You can pack a lot of people in there, and that's
of course.
And him being 40 miles from where he grew up, and everybody chasing that down, I think that's a very easy sellout crowd.
Well, no, at this point, I think that you can take Jose to any venue in Vegas, LA, and it will sell out.
They'll follow him.
Oh, I agree.
Just because, you know, of everything that's going on with Regis Prograis and you know, the potential Terrence Crawford fight that has been being talked about. I think Jose right now it's in a very good position as far as his fans and everything. So, no, I mean, yeah. I would like to see Jose have a good year, which is everything as of right now looks like it will be. But yeah, expect big things from this young man, because I mean, it's hard to lose when you have a lot of reasons not to.
Yeah.
Like him, he doesn't only fight for himself. He fights for immigrants. He fights for water. He fights for the Central Valley, because this is his home. And I mean, like I said, this kid represents a lot more to us than boxing, and I don't think majority of the people realize.
Right.
Like his pro-immigrant and proud campaign, it's just, you know, it's something that we need, because immigration is a sensitive topic right now, but whether we want to admit it or not, that's what feeds us.
Oh, I
You know,
agree.
the people
100%.
working on the fields and bringing everything up, and I think it's something that it needs to be addressed, and I think the way he's trying to do it, it's the most positive possible way to do it.
You know, growing up, I grew up in Riverdale, which is, I mean, just the same size as Avenel.
Okay.
And it's about 30 minutes away. And everybody talks about, you know, migrant, immigration, there's issues there. I grew up in a migrant town, you know, and I'm Hawaiian, you know, I'm white. And I got to know a lot of the people, but I didn't really understand what the work ethic means when everybody throws that around. I mean, I went and hoed cotton, you know, I hoed tomatoes. I went on a sorter, and I worked on a tomato machine, you know. I'm sitting there, I'm doing these things, and we're on a tomato machine, and we're sorting, and there's this 65-year-old lady who made me tacos every day, and she was amazing. But they yelled snake, and she's sorting, grabbing green tomatoes, grabs a snake, flips it over her head, and doesn't move. 15 people jumped off the machine. She didn't care, and I'm like, so after, you know, we're done, and I asked her, so why don't you? She goes, it's gonna be there, it's gonna happen, just deal with it.
Nice.
You know, and that's when somebody says, oh, you know, they got a migrant family, they got a work ethic. That's what I hear. It's going to be there. You're going to do it. So just deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't run from it. I mean, the snakes can go past the conveyor belt and get in the machine and ruin and set us down. Then she can't work. And I mean, there's a big thing that I didn't think about that, but she's like, just deal with it. It's coming at you. You don't run from it. I'm like, so that's when you say that, that's what I hear, you know? And,
No, of course, yeah.
And you can see that in the way Ramirez has taken his life, his fighting. I mean, the way he's dealt with everything. Whatever's in front of him, he's going to take care of it, you know? And there's no issues behind it. He doesn't have, like you said, $1 million house and $1 million cars. He's got a Dodge Ram pickup that he bought right here, you know? I mean, and he loves that thing. And so, I mean, he's stayed true to who he is, and that's amazing.
No, of course, yeah.
And I think that's what we need in the Valley, you know? And we need across the board in America to understand what the work ethic is. It doesn't matter nation of origin, across the board. He's a great fighter, a good person, and that's what we should, you know, what we should worry about and judge is not, you know,
Right.
where they come from is what their character is.
Well, himself, he actually worked on the fields as a kid with his parents and stuff. So I mean, he's very familiar with how everything works, and this is why this is something very personal for him, because he knows firsthand that of course there's going to be people that come over and they're going to do things that they're not supposed to, and I'm completely up for it. You know, if you commit a crime, you got to deal with the consequences. However, you know, he knows that there's more to it than that. There's people who come here legitimately looking for a better life, and they're going to work to provide that for their families. And you know, I 100% back him up on this campaign.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, and what people here in Central California don't realize, if they go back through history, the foundation of this Central Valley was built during the Depression, where everybody came here and worked. This generation stayed here and built their families. So go back to history and do a little research and see how it was built, you know. And I mean, my parents were here during the Depression, and you know, end up meeting, getting married. They were both engaged to somebody else, met in Lindsay, and the rest was history. But yeah, so the foundation was here, and the work ethic and the values and stuff was still implanted, man. I mean, my dad ended up working for the Teamsters Union, ran the union since 1941 to 1991. You know, I grew up in Huntington Beach, California. We were the only Mexicans in the area, you know, and I didn't know about stuff like that. I didn't really think about stuff like that. And I moved here, settled down my family after everybody saying, why in the hell you're going to move up there? But I wanted to settle down, raise a family, and stay away from everybody else so they can't say, I did that for you. Because that's what they do.
It's funny that you mentioned it, because when I first came to Fresno 4 years ago, I was only supposed to be here for a few months, you know, get in touch with my family, and then go back to Vegas. And that's actually what ended up happening. Like, you know, I came over here, I started like hanging out, and then I met a certain somebody that I don't want to mention names, and 4 years later, and here I am.
It happens, man. It happens. I've been here, 32 years now. That's why it's like, no, what the hell? But everybody thought I'd be right back, but raised my kids, had a good career here, and now have a thriving business, you know, almost as long as, or longer than what my career was. But it's good, and it's old school, and it's different when here versus when you go over the hill, or even Northern California, up north. If you get, and if you're in business, and say sales, whatever, and you have a quality product, they don't care. It's them trusting you. And if your word, that value is true to what you're doing, everybody knows 10 people, man. And then the rest takes care of itself. But that's how it is, man. It is.
And that's. I mean, me and Javi have talked about you. I mean, you've been in many conversations, and that's always been. You know, it's not that, oh, he does this or he does that. It's just we can count on you. And it's always been. It's not even if we need help with this, or shirt's got to come in, or this. Like, you told me, hey, I'm gonna do this. I don't even worry about it, man. I go, okay, cool. And I'm either way, and you've come to me on different things, and I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Whatever happens, happens.
Of course.
And it's your word has been your bond to me and a lot of the other guys.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
that right there is, for us, is branding. We can count on you, and like I said, with About Millions, it's not just the money; it's this across the board. You have you support. I mean, like, you're even helping us out. We're doing the awards at the end of the year. We're getting together to do that, and to help us, help get the local fighters out. I mean, with the awards at the end of the year, that's a big thing, because there's guys that don't get the accolades, and have us recognize them and have you be a part of that. That's a big thing for us.
Well, I think the Central Valley has a lot of talent. It's full of talent, and and it's not being recognized. And I think what you guys are trying to do is it's a great thing, to have somebody come in and recognize his hard work. And everybody gets their hand raised, they get a paycheck, but to give somebody, like, saying, here, we recognize the hard work that you're putting and everything, and I think it's great. I'm completely up for that.
That's awesome. We appreciate that. Well, since I already let the cat out of the bag, you want to give more information on that?
Yeah, go ahead. The date, we're going to lock in. The date is December 28th here in Selma, right here in our home at the Spike and Rail Barbecue House. We're going to have the first annual 2018 MMA Fight Pass Awards. So those of you will be getting an invitation soon. We're under discussion and be releasing all that information, but we want to extend our gratitude and thank you to Alonso for stepping up, being a major sponsor on this vision that we have, and hopefully the beginning of a lot more other things. I mean, 2019, we got a lot of things planned. Definitely it's going to be a huge year, but this is something where basically we want to say thank you to the local talent here and the appreciation that you guys deserve. And like I said, it's just the beginning, man. And this is the way and the gesture we're going to go ahead and spread it with everybody.
This gesture, I mean, like Alonso said, you know, they get their hand raised and they get a paycheck. But if you put into what they've given up sacrifice-wise and hours they put in the gym and the sleepless nights going over film and talking to people, trying to scrap together a fight, or if a fight gets canceled, the stress and that goes on them and branches out to their family, this is something they can take home and say, hey, you know, everybody put this work in. And this is, I mean, it's a small thing from us, but it's a big thing in the overall because we took the time and they took all their time to put this together and put themselves on the mat and put out a performance. And so, I mean, there's a lot going out there that people don't recognize. Like, if you're not in the fight game or you don't have a fighter in your life, there's a lot of time that you don't see it. And there's a lot of time that people that are around them, that support staff, that are giving up and their family don't see them. And so, I mean, it's a small thank you from us, I think, but it's more of a thank you to them for sacrificing and giving what they do give up. You know, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, we can give them one night
Yeah.
where the night is theirs, and to basically say thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully give them that blessing to roll into 2019 to even have a better year.
Yeah, give them a springboard.
You know, that's what it's all about. But you know what? I want to shout out to Marion Reneau. Her fight got canceled. Actually, the whole card got canceled.
I didn't even believe it. Then
January
it popped up
20.
on my feed.
Yeah, she told us but she's still gonna fight that girl. Hopefully, God willing, in March and maybe here in Fresno. That's what the talks are. So, but the whole card was actually scratched.
Yeah.
And then shout out to the little princess out there, Karina Herrera. Man, she did some work. That was cool. She was gonna try to be here, but she had a prior commitment. And we'll catch her soon, though. That's good for her. I mean, that girl puts in a lot of work, and definitely a winning that was well.
And like I said, she was at 115. That's her weight. She
her,
looked
yeah.
a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, her cardio was there, and she
Strong.
pressed that fight the entire time. And
Yeah.
she wasn't slotted to win. I mean, they had a lot of
That's a
hope for her opponent and coming
Yeah.
out of Oyama's camp.
Yeah.
And that just, I mean, I was impressed.
I'm telling, see, the Central Valley, man, and come out of that Porterville, there's the water over there. That's
Something in that water over there,
That's
I'm telling you.
special. Hope everything carries on to Javi out there in Hawaii, man. That same crew out there, it's gonna take care of him as well.
So, Alonso, I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on. Is there anybody you want to shout out in your fighters? Anybody on your roster you want to talk about? Or
Oh, no, you know what, man? I just want to say I'm thankful for everybody, from you, Javi, Evan, Donovan, Chris, Jenna, you know,
you have a long
JC.
list.
Yeah, it's too many. All of you guys, I appreciate you guys. You know, thank you for the inspiration that you guys give me to continue to wake up in the morning and keep on working. And we're just going to continue to take over, you know, like, just I want to continue to grow with you guys. And I am very appreciative for everything, for everybody.
And so I can guarantee I could talk for them. We want to thank you for everything you've done, and thank you again for being a veteran and sacrificing what you did. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you've done for us, and a lot of stuff you've done for the country, and we can't thank you enough for that. And I appreciate that greatly.
And I mean, another person that I guess I want to thank, and it's because, you know, and lately I've noticed it a lot more, and it's the lady over there sitting over there. You
Boss
know,
lady.
She
Miss Judy.
she sees when I'm throwing my phone through a wall, and you know, she kind of like she helps me a lot. She keeps me sane. What I mean, lately I've been thinking about just committing a felony so I can go to jail and get some rest.
It's
But,
easier
you
that
know,
way. Call heaven to take you in.
but no, but honestly, like, you know, like she helps me a lot. She keeps me sane and she keeps me working. So I appreciate her and everybody. And thank you guys for having me here. I truly appreciate it.
I'm thankful you showed up, brother.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I want to go ahead and shout out to the Spike and Rail here in Selma for taking care of us, Glepler Digital for keeping us the speed going, Eddie Alberti. Who in the heck is that? Eddie Algary. I know it's one of those Mexican guys out there. No, if I say MMA, that guy, he's a special dude, man. You go in there, and whether it's a walkout T-shirt or you want to fit your gym, I think OKG was one of the gyms that he was instrumental in putting together out there. Like they say, you can go there, you could touch it, you could hit it, you could strike it, and you could also take it home versus going online and getting scammed and get something you really didn't order. Go out there and check him out. That's it. This is a wrap. Awesome. Oh, brother, man. Finally, God bless you, man, for the time.
Oh, thank you guys for having me over.
For sure.